A little beauty shot of the water off the coast of Florida. It's pretty, but all is not well beneath the waves. The extreme heat many of us have endured this summer is also being felt by those oceans, and it's having a devastating effect on some wildlife. So take a look at this. It's what one coral reef near the Florida Keys looked like back in 2017. It's beautiful, and this is what it looks like now. Stripped of all color. The nearby surface water temperature measured more than 100 degrees late last month. May have something to do with it. It's a trend researchers predict could last well into the fall, with elevated water temperatures continuing to strain the coral. Manuel Bojorquez traveled with scientists trying to save those coral reefs, and he joins us now. Manny, good morning.
Good morning to you. The coral reefs off these shores should be vibrant and colorful this time of year, but after some of the highest recorded water surface temperatures, scientists we rode along with say they are seeing a very different picture.
Scientists with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, took us to a spot known as Chica Rocks off Isla Morada.
Chica Rocks has been one of the reefs that's really held on.
So this is a resilient reef.
This has been a resilient reef.
Has been up until now.
Yeah.
Ian Enox has been doing research here for about 10 years. He was not prepared for what he saw. A virtual moonscape, a condition known as bleaching. Extremely warm water causes the coral to lose the algae it needs to survive, leaving them looking like ghosts. This is what it looked like in 2017.
You know, as a scientist, we are trying not to be emotional. For me, just seeing the scale of death, it's hard to kind of come to terms with that. It's not subtle. It's 100%.
A nearby marine buoy in the Upper Keys measured the surface water temperature above 100 degrees last month, which scientists believe is due in part to human-caused climate change. Now there's a race to save the coral.
Just put one here.
Ironically, by removing them from their habitat.
We are trying to rescue as much of the genetic diversity and as much of the stock that we have is paramount to the survival of these species in the Florida Keys. How many you have here?
Fanor Montoya Maya is program manager of the Coral Restoration Foundation. Volunteers have been taking 20 different species of coral from the sea and to their partners at the Keys Marine Lab, where they are placed into tanks that simulate more normal conditions. The goal is to keep them alive and return them once the waters have cooled.
We have seen species disappear, but an entire ecosystem, we haven't seen that. And I don't want to be part of the generation that sees that.
This is about more than coral. Reefs cover less than 1% of the Earth's surface, but are home to 25% of marine species, making them critical to the food supply, tourism, and shoreline protection.
They breathe through a hole in their tongue.
For sea turtles, it's a matter of survival.
This animal was in our oceans when dinosaurs were on our land, so what we see happening to them is eventually going to affect all of life.
Betty Zirkelbach is the general manager at the Turtle Hospital in Marathon. She says warming waters contribute to abnormalities and deformities in turtles, but could also affect the species long term. Nests in warmer sands yield more female turtles.
As far as hatchlings in the state of Florida, we're only seeing female hatchlings.
It's a fragile ecosystem at risk, one Ian Enox, despite the odds, isn't willing to give up on.
We have too much at stake, and so we have no other option than to try to turn this around, and I think we can.
That NOAA researcher says reducing greenhouse gas emissions is the most important thing people and governments can do. And because the coral reefs grow very slowly, the large ones that are lost could take hundreds of years to fully grow back.
You know, that's what I was thinking as they were taking the coral out to try to save it, and then they're going to repopulate it at some point when the temperatures fall. Well, when are the temperatures going to fall?
Right, and it started so early this year, those high water temperatures, and really, it's not just important to people who live along the coastlines.
Yeah.
This affects the food supply. So if you eat fish, guess what? It's going to make it tougher if you lose that ecosystem.
Yeah,
and you were told
people that.
Yeah, you were told it's not subtle. So there is a sense of urgency for us right now.
Absolutely.
You said it perfectly. It does look like a ghost town down there.
Yeah.
Just the color and the life stripped
Right.
from the
And you know
coral
what they're
reefs.
supposed to look like. They're beautiful. They're
Yes.
colorful.
Manny, that's the point I was going to make. It's the beauty of the coral reefs that I don't want
Right.
to lose.
Yeah.
In addition to not affecting our food supply.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, we all like food.
Let's go food supply first and then the beauty.
Okay.
I don't know. Beauty matters too.
Fair enough. Manny, good to have you at the table.
Good to be here.